My idea of an adventure includes board shorts, warm waters, waves, the sun in your face. Not necessarily freezing temps, wet ocean, polar winds mixed with ice floes that could trap you, waves that could capsize you, and even polar bears that are getting hungry enough to hunt you. My name is Scott Mortensen, together with Neil Mueller, Colin West, and Paul Ridley. We're rowing across the Arctic.
Together we're the Arctic Row team. We're all set to do the last great first in ocean rowing.
We'll be rowing 12 hours a day, probably about 30 days worth of that, depending on weather.
This is definitely the toughest thing I've ever done.
What was the genesis of this idea, saying, you know what, we need to do this?
I thought these guys were crazy when I first heard about it, but just some hard-charging guys that are explorers first and humanitarians as well.
I question your sanity in this thing. No one has ever attempted rowing across the Arctic Ocean before.
That's right. Good morning, Chicago. 4 of us are going to set out on July 1st to row across the Arctic Ocean. And you're right, it's never been done before.
We're starting in Inuvik, Canada, and rowing all the way to Russia. That's a route of about 1,200 miles.
So basically we got some work to do.
We have to mount everything, rewire everything, foam line this whole cabin so that we don't kill ourselves if weather gets rough. Hey, tie those knots tight.
So we got in touch with adventurers and scientists for conservation and asked them if they knew of any scientists that needed specimens collected in the Arctic Ocean.
While you are rowing, we're going to be creating a long transect line that allows us to collect data to help map the distribution of zooplankton in the Arctic.
Up to $500 billion of new oil exploration. Shorter shipping routes, new fishing industries, and we're 4 guys in a rowboat collecting plankton for scientists. Underdog story of the year.
There's so much that goes into an ocean row like this. Safety, of course, it is a big concern.
This is life insurance. This will save your life.
So on top of, getting the electrical, the solar, the wind turbine, the food, the radio.
We got training too, huh? We gotta start doing that.
Don't forget the training. We got 30 days to go. The boat is in disarray. It's a typical exploration. Limited deadline, not enough budget, impossible task before you. And what are we doing this for?
Bring a spotlight to the plight of the Arctic.
I like that.
Inspiration, inspired me. Nailed it.
'Cause I'm tired of listening while others are singing. 'Cause there's too much to say. This voice can no longer hide. And it has to be that I'm gonna find freedom, discovering as I walk through the seasons, and I waste no time. This moment is mine, and I'll see with the whole